Hey guys, Lisa Callaghy here to share with you a video on how to secure your Zoom meetings with your students through a setting called Authentication. So, I'm going to go through the steps on what you need to do to turn on this setting in your Zoom account. And then I'm going to show you where we have some resources in the UC Technology Resource Shared Drive to help you when you're showing your students how they should use the authentication process now when they are signing into your Zoom account or your Zoom meeting. And just go through a few of the steps that the students need to take. All right, so let's get started. So I'm here in my ClassLink account, and I have an actual folder on my ClassLink dashboard for all my Zoom tiles. So I'm going to open up that, and inside that folder, I have a Zoom SAML, SAML tile. And this is where you need to click to get into your licensed Zoom account page where you're able to create meetings and then, most importantly, go through your settings. All right, so once we're on this page, navigate over here to the left-hand side of your screen and choose settings from the menu options. Once you're here, you're going to see a bunch of settings pop up with a lot of slide bars. Sometimes you'll see checkboxes. So we're looking for the setting about enabling authentication. So I'm going to scroll down and here we go. So this is the setting. It's called Only Authenticated Users Can Join Your Meetings. And from the district level, the admin portion of Zoom, the administrators of the account for the Union City School District have created the authentication options, and that means that the only way a student or anyone actually can enter into your Zoom meetings, they must have a valid ucboe.us account. And we create those accounts. Obviously, those are our Google accounts for Gmail and also to log into ClassLink and so forth. So this needs to be turned on, this slider. All right. And then you also have another option if the waiting room is enabled. So everybody really should have enabled their waiting rooms. And that, by the way, is up here, waiting room, turn on that setting. And then you can customize your waiting room. You can give a little greeting to your participants in your waiting room and so forth. But coming back down to if the waiting room is enabled, phone only users will be placed in the waiting room. If the waiting room is not enabled, phone dial in users will be allowed to join the meeting or be blocked from the meeting. So you are allowing, if you don't have the waiting room enabled, which you all should, you could either choose be allowed or to be blocked. I choose to be blocked from joining the meeting. That way, they would have to be placed in case my waiting room is not enabled, they wouldn't be allowed to join. So it's just another layer of security for you. But really, we don't really have that many phone dial-in users, but just in case anything gets shared out on the internet, you never know how people are going to try to enter into your meetings. So again, authentication turned on here. Only people with ucboe.us accounts are allowed to enter even into your waiting room. And then from there, you're able to let your students in or your meeting attendees in. Below that, you'll see only authenticated users can join meetings from web client. This is another layer of security. So sometimes students are joining your Zoom from the web, meaning that they haven't downloaded the app to either their device or mobile device or their computer, and they're joining from Zoom on the internet, the web. So when you have this turned on, Again, another layer of security, only authenticated users. So only users with the at ucboe.us account will be allowed to enter into your waiting room. All right. So that is how you turn all of this on. You should do that under your Zoom account. Make sure that you are in your licensed Zoom account attached to your at ucboe.us Google account. All right. Now I'm going to jump over to my Google Drive. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard. I'm going to open up my Google Drive. And now I'm going to just show you how you can explain to your students. Obviously, you'd want to, in a Zoom, before you turn on this setting. So you want to turn on this setting after you've explained to your students how they're going to join the next day. So I would come in to your Google Drive, go into your shared drives, navigate to the UC Technology Resources shared drive, UC Technology Resources shared drive. Okay, open up that drive, and then inside you're going to find a folder. Open for me, sorry. You will find a folder called _UCVS teacher resources. So this is Union City Virtual School teacher resources. So we have a folder specifically for resources for virtual school. And inside there is a Zoom folder. All right, so inside the Zoom folder, you're going to look for student Zoom instructions. And there's also one, how to create a Zoom account for UC students. So students, they can create their own Zoom accounts using their Union City Google account. So it just helps them when they're signing in. If they use the same device, it's easier for them, but it's not necessary. So you can look at that. But for the purposes of what we're trying to do, which is lock down our Zoom meetings with our students, so nobody other than Union City student with the authenticated Union City account can enter. That would be here for, it says Zoom student instructions. So this is a PDF that you're going to want to show your kids the day before you actually turn on that authentication setting in Zoom. So basically, they're going to follow the same instructions that they do to access your Zoom tile, to access your Zoom meeting room. And usually that's done in the ClassLink backpack. They click on the Zoom link and then they click sign in. Then they click on sign in to join. Okay, so they're going to have to click on sign in to join. When they do that, the sign in page is going to pop up and they have to click sign in with Google. And when they do that, it's going to ask them for their Google accounts, Union City Google accounts, which is their UC ID number at ucboe.us, and their password. So most students in middle and high school have had to choose their own Google account password. So if they don't know their passwords, they won't be able to get in. That's another thing. So you're going to have to make sure that students are able to access their Google accounts. And you could, I guess, test that out with your students, making, maybe in Zoom, having them access something in Union City, like their G Drive or something that allows them, where they need to type in their password, but they have to remember their password. And if they don't, you're going to have to reach out to Hunter. But that's very, very important. So this has been a video, guys, on how to secure your Zoom meetings with your students, adding another layer of security called authentication. And that is a setting in Zoom that you need to turn on, and then students need to authenticate when they are accessing and joining your Zoom meetings. All right, if you have any questions, please reach out to the tech department, virtual chat, emails, um, and we'd be glad to help you. All right, I hope you have a great night.